it was just particularly jarring for me. And I have no attachment to Maryland at all. I know some people, some friends of mine are really good, tight Maryland people, okay, and root for Terrapin sports. But it was very jarring for me to see the head of their Board of Regents yesterday, a guy named James T. Brady, their University Board of Regents chairman, welcome DJ Durkin back into the Maryland sports family and ready to stick him on the sideline this week against Michigan State. Like, welcome back after all that has happened. And if anybody needs a quick refresher, the all that has happened is a 19-year-old player named Jordan McNair died of heat stroke in June after a workout in May where he was not properly attended to, and his life that could have been saved wasn't because of various reasons, from the training staff not treating it properly immediately or not recognizing it immediately, and also part of their investigation into it, maybe perhaps the situation wasn't treated as seriously because of the toxic, that's the quote from one of the reports that investigations that looked into this program, because the toxic environment that DJ Durkin had created in just his 2 years on the job there in Maryland. And the strength and conditioning coach, who was reported and investigated and looked into, created all sorts of nightmare scenarios with homophobic slurs that were thrown at the players to try and get them to do what they apparently needed to do. A trash can that was filled with the players' vomit was thrown across the floor. I mean, so on and so forth. And Durkin wasn't the one who told training staff, don't look at the kid or anything like that. Wasn't anything direct result of him ordering this kid not to be attended to, but it was all part and parcel of a program where kids were not supposed to complain about feeling ill, that if you bent over at your waist, that was a no-no during conditioning drills. And that's one of the signals that McNair showed while he was struggling. The strength coach, Rick Court, who was apparently DJ Durkin's first hire, he resigned, reached a settlement with the school on August 14th. And then Wallace Lowe, the university president, in August came out and at a press conference said that he spoke to the parents of Jordan McNair and apologized to them and took responsibility morally and legally for his death. And when he did that, I thought to myself back in August, what a refreshing statement from a school president where somebody in this day and age also is accepting responsibility, saying it's on us and we will do something to fix it. And we will look into it and we will implement whatever suggestions there are that are needed to be brought forward for us to fix what needs to be fixed. And we take responsibility for it. And McNair's parents came out and said they appreciated that when he and the athletic director, Damon Evans, visited with them. So what a surprise when it came out yesterday that president who accepted responsibility for the death of Jordan McNair announces that he's retiring next summer. And out comes the regent to say this.
We believe that Coach Durkin has been unfairly blamed for the dysfunction in the athletic department. And while he shares some responsibility, it is not fair to place all of it at his feet. We believe that he is a good man and a good coach who is devoted to the well-being of the student athletes under his charge. He's also at the beginning of his coaching career with a great deal of promise and much still to learn. We believe he deserves that opportunity.
Much still to learn. He's from the Ohio State and Michigan staffs. What do you need to learn? And in terms of the dysfunction in the athletic department, Damon Evans was an interim athletic director when Kevin Anderson, the previous athletic director, took a 6-month sabbatical for professional development last October, after which the 6 months were up in April and he just flat out left the school. That's when Evans came in, and apparently there's so much politics going on that it caused DJ Durkin to not have the ability to understand what was going on in his own locker room and staff? Is that what I'm to understand? There was such dysfunction, and this guy is such a rube coming from other Big Ten programs like Ohio State and Michigan that he doesn't know how to handle dysfunction in an athletic department when it sure sounds like he's the type of guy who will tell an athletic director, stay out of my business. I'm a coach of this football program. None of it makes sense. And so you're going to turn around and tell everybody that we're implementing changes at this football program, and the guy who's going to implement it is the guy who created such a quote-unquote toxic environment that a 19-year-old is 6 feet under? I cannot imagine what the parents of Jordan McNair are thinking today. The dad came out and called it a punch to the gut, thought somebody was spitting in his face. And for what? A guy who's 10 and 15? Look, records shouldn't matter. Records shouldn't matter, and money shouldn't matter either. And apparently that's a factor as well. And how about this? In this day and age, when everybody's wondering about whether to send their kid out onto a football field because of the safety of the sport in between the lines, Maryland is keeping this coach when what happened actually happened outside the lines? Who the hell is going to send their kid to this program? And Maryland thinks that they could just, all right, go have it against Michigan State. Good for the kids who walked out on this coach yesterday. I don't even know the guy. Okay, I don't know the guy, and he may be wonderful to meet with and talk with. He clearly had some people who are supporting him in the Board of Regents and in the program, or whoever puts money into Maryland. He clearly has supporters there. And he's got some supporters apparently from some players in the locker room. That locker room is now split. The campus, they're going to have tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, the executive board of the University of Maryland Student Government Association is going to have a rally on campus. This is the way to handle it? And you're afraid to get sued from a coach? Is that what it is? I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what's happening. So, Brockman, later on, when you hit this in your news update in hour number 3, Washington Post columnist Barry Svrluga, who's been all over this story, is going to join us to tell me if I'm missing anything, if I'm off base in anything that I just said, because it's everything that I'm reading and hearing and seeing, and it just appalls me to my core. Football is a sport where teamwork matters. Football is a sport where character building is paramount. Football is a sport where trusting the man or woman, depending on where you play, to your left or right, will have your back, and that you can bind together and win. And if you don't, at least you tried. And this is the guy that they're putting back in because they had 2 reports that, by the way, absolutely said what was going on there was an abomination. My 2 cents. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on the show. Jalen Ramsey's going to be coming up in hour number 3. Could you tell? I mean, I get a little bit. I
think it's all very warranted.
I couldn't believe it. And then the president says that he's out. The same guy who said we're accepting responsibility legally and morally says that he's out. And it sure looks like he lost a power struggle to a football worshiping board of regents that doesn't want to pay out a coach and rather would keep him and say that he's worth rehabilitating despite his 10-15 2-season record, 5-13 in the Big Ten. He doesn't even have ties to the school, it seems, right? It's not like a Terp alum. Frank Reich was. He was ready to take the job. They gave it to this guy instead. What a mess.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.